like most people, I was just buying stuff from a catalogue and bolting it on the vehicle, and I found that I really wanted to make it unique and personalised. I didn't really want to pay someone to do something that I could do myself, so it was easier for me to make something myself, and obviously there's a lot of pride that goes with that, making your own products. So there's a lot of stuff that you can't just buy off the shelf for it. I felt that there was a certain transition point from how a manufacturer develops their vehicle to then the aftermarket industry and the improvements they make. There was a certain point where I felt like it needed to go further than that. Four-wheel drives and just cars in general, when you start getting into the modification scene of it, you're never finished. It's all a progression thing, and the beauty about four-wheel driving is you do usually have an intended purpose more than just showing your vehicle off. You want to be able to make it more capable and more comfortable. Yeah, so that's very much been the drive behind building the vehicle. Yeah, so when I was about 7 years old, I remember I got a remote control car for my birthday, and I spent maybe an hour in the backyard playing with it before I end up waltzing into my father's shed and looking for a screwdriver to pull it apart and see how it all works. So I've always had that fascination with engineering. I eventually, after I finished high school, decided I wanted to make things out of metal, and I obtained my apprenticeship as a fitter and turner. So I worked in a manufacturing environment to start with. And that led to my fascination with automotive engineering and just the fluidity of how all these systems work together in a vehicle. So to have thousands of moving parts all working in harmony to move thousands of kilograms of steel and rubber, that really appealed to me. So I started four-wheel driving probably in my early 20s. Over time I decided that I wanted to do more touring and see our country, and in 2010 I purchased my current GU Patrol. Then set out that I wanted to build a bit of an all-rounder, something that could go to the most remote parts of our country and do it comfortably, and also to tackle the toughest tracks Australia has to offer. So there's quite a lot in the vehicle that you don't see, and that's the thing with modifying a car, is there's so much work that goes into it. I've done quite an extensive amount of modifications to the vehicle. The gearbox is literally the only original thing in it. I found that I needed more power. So a lot of people do engine conversions. I did one about 2 years ago now. I put this engine in. It's a 4.2 diesel. It was from an old 1992 GQ Patrol engine. So it's quite an old engine, but they're renowned to be tough as nails and reliable as hell. They do really benefit from a lot of performance upgrades. So I put a bigger injector pump on it and a big turbo on it and a fuel system to be able to suit. A front mount intercooler to keep the engine temperatures down, and the result is about 200 horsepower and around 700 newton meters of torque at the wheels. So that's double what a V8 Cruiser has, and it made it an absolute phenomenal vehicle to drive. The towing torque is just amazing. You put 3 tonne behind it and you don't even feel it. I can overtake cars uphill. The tyres are quite large, and they're definitely more for the capability in those tougher tracks. Just when I go away for the weekend and want to have some fun, those 37-inch tyres just give me not only the ground clearance on my diffs, but it also just gives it more sidewall, so it's a lot smoother ride. Once you air down, it just gives more surface area for the tyre to mould around rocks and logs and stuff. The vehicle weighs about 3.5 tonnes, so that adds a lot of stress to the diffs and the axles. So I had to strengthen the front diff, put some strengthening plates in there. The braking system in the vehicle was quite inadequate with the larger tyres. So what I ended up doing was I looked at the American market and found that the Chevy Silverados, they actually run a hydraulic brake booster. And it's basically runs off your power steering pump. So instead of your typical vacuum operated braking system, it essentially doubles your braking force. Originally I had quite a lot of weight on the roof with a steel roof rack and my shovel, high lift jack, chainsaw, all that sort of stuff. When you go away, it really dramatically affects your centre of gravity when you're off-road. My solution to that was to take all the weight off the roof, and I developed the rear bar to take all the accessories, and that just lowers my centre of gravity and keeps it all out of the car as well. You obviously don't want fuel in the car, or chainsaws and stuff like that, and it's easy to access too. A lot of the other fabrications I've done, like the front bar, I modified that myself. It's just an ARB Sahara bar, and I cut the winch cradle out and made it to suit a Warn 8274 high mount winch, and they're just one of the most reliable winches ever made. They've been making them exactly the same for 60 years. The rock sliders I made myself. Like I said, the car weighs 3.5 tonne. When you bang down on a big rock, you really need that support there, or your sills are just not going to survive. Eventually that progressed into a love of photography. What it did is it inspired me to go bush a lot more. I didn't want to just get the shots that everyone else was getting. So not only capturing the moments with my family, but also my feel for the area. And that's one of the most important things with photography is getting the feel for the environment that you're in. So you're not just taking a photo of an area or something like that. You're absorbing the experience and then you're relaying that through your capture. So because my photography has always been a hobby, I really got into the magazines and seeing how they were doing their work. And so I started to take photos on trips similar to how the magazines were. And eventually that progressed into picking up a little bit of freelance work. One day I'd hope to be able to do it as a full-time career. So I don't drive it every day. I've got a car that I drive to work. So what it does is it makes those times that I do drive it very special. Because I've built it myself, I've done everything to the vehicle myself. I feel a lot of satisfaction when I drive it. It's when you jump behind the wheel, it's just, there's no other feeling. The great thing about four-wheel driving compared to other forms of automotive is it's such a broad subject in things that you can do. Four-wheel driving, for me, you can go out in the bush and have a good time with your mates, or you can take your family away on the family trips, and being able to go to isolated spots that no one else gets to, that's what really appealed to me most with four-wheel driving. The moments when you're barreling down the highway and you're passing all the simpletons as they drive to their 9-to-5 demise, and you're heading up the high country or somewhere like that, it's a great feeling, and to do it in a vehicle that you've built yourself, there's nothing else like it.